We mentioned the overheated rhetoric. Barney Frank talked about some of the things that he's been hearing on Good Morning America this morning. Take a listen.
I think they should apologize. But what I would like is for them to denounce this without sort of qualifying the denunciations, without explaining it, without saying, as I heard John Boehner say, well, of course you have a right to be angry. These are terrible tactics. But why not just get up and say this is wrong? There's no justification for it, and let's have the debate on the merits.
And a great Barney Frank line this morning said he gets less death threats and more after-death threats. People telling him where he's going to spend eternity more than anything else. Jonathan Martin from Politico.com joins us. And the issue that Mr. Frank raises, and I think is out there, generally we put it out to the Twitter followers as well. Basically, should elected officials be held accountable, or doing more to tamp this down right now? Do they bear any responsibility at all? And we've seen some differing takes on this throughout, whether this is Republicans are fanning the flames or whether this is something that's beyond their control. But what do they need to do to kind of get control of this from the Republican perspective?
Well, I think you're going to see some of them speaking out today. I think Eric Keener in the House is having a press conference today. I think you're seeing Boehner. I think Leader Boehner doing something similar. They recognize the danger in some of this language, and some of even these actions. I think could damage them. Look, Democrats got a nice victory in this bill passing. This is now sort of making things even better for them politically, even that's sort of odd to say. But I think
but they're
it portrays. Hold on a second. It portrays the Republican Party as extremist, as captive to the sort of far out element. But the danger for Democrats, though, is that they don't want to be seen as fanning the flames themselves.
Right.
I'm not saying, look, there's a threat here or a threat there, because then they're exploiting the issue, and a very serious issue at that.
And so I guess that's the question for Keener and Boehner. Can you denounce the violence and denounce
Democrats for pushing it?
Yeah,
that's a tougher needle to thread, I think. But to me, the fascinating larger story here is just how much this sort of Tea Party energy, not the Tea Parties themselves, but just that sort of grassroots energy on the right, has establishment Republicans now, if not cowed, just has them sitting up and paying attention. I mean, they recognize this is where the energy is coming from right now. Some of them are trying to harness it. Some of them are trying to sort of become that. I mean, seeing members of the House of Representatives standing on the balcony of the Speaker's lobby and holding up signs saying "Kill the bill."
Meet me at the state line.
I mean, right. It's no longer just energy that they're hoping to tap into and count on for Election Day. It seems to be they don't want to make moves without them.
Exactly.
They don't want to move forward without them.
I mean, it's just all consuming right now in the party, and it's sort of pushing them to a place where I think some members in the party, if you talk to them privately, are not comfortable being there. But there are others in the House, especially, that see it as a net gain.
Have you sensed, as Congressman Levin told us, a kind of a change in the psyche around health care, that kind of a bounce in Democrat steps in the
I mean, I was on Capitol Hill yesterday. I think that there's no question about that. And because it goes back to this argument of, if you look at the history of this country, at least the past 100 years, any time there has been a piece of legislation that is passed like this, controversial and during the course of the debate, but after it goes on the books, and after you start selling it and talking about what's in there, it becomes more popular. Any benefit for the middle class, any sort of popular sort of element, it's tough to say that it's going to be repealed, isn't it, if you're a Republican?
And the DNC and the White House seem to me, I was saying at the top of the show to Rick, to have been very prepared for this hard pivot, if you will, to offense. After being on defense so long, those thank you ads, getting them out there right away, they seem to have pivoted to that kind of offensive posture very quickly.
Absolutely. And the Republicans, I think, conversely, don't quite know if we should say purely we're going to be for repealing it, or that's going to be a state-by-state issue, because I think they're still grappling with that question internally because of what I just mentioned. There are elements in this bill that are very, very popular, and how do you want to be seen as campaigning against, for example, being able to keep your kids on your plan until they're 26? I mean, that's going to be tough to run against, and when you're running against the bill and you're saying kill the bill, well, then you're against that too.
Jonathan, in our last 30 seconds, you got a story up today about some of the angst inside the Democratic Party and some threats that are being issued against some of the Democrats who switched their votes.
There's this odd caucus of 5 House Democrats voted for the bill last year, voted for final, but then voted against final passage on Sunday, and it really infuriated both White House folks and people in organized labor because it really imperiled passage of the bill. But politically, a lot of folks say that just doesn't make any sense. You're already on the record voting for the bill anyways. You're going to be hit for that by the other side.
You live in no man's land.
Why lose the benefit of the bill passing and being on the books?
Who's your friend now? Exactly.
Not
Jonathan
many
Martin
folks.
from
Thanks,
Politico.com. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you, as always, for being here. We know it's Thursday if you're here. That does it for this edition of Top Line. Be sure to click us on again tomorrow.
And it's twitter.com/The Note, where we're also more energetic than Harry Reid at all times, we promise. Thank you.
If it's Thursday.